All right, hello again to anyone watching these Kaijudo videos. Today I'm joined once again by Darksigner from the German Duel Masters channel. How are you doing?
Hey guys, I'm doing well. I hope you guys are staying safe and enjoying these Kaijudo videos.
Yes, thank you for coming on once again. Today we are going to be covering the round three match you played in the tournament between yourself and Raijinku. So just for the viewers at home, we have the decks on the screen. So of course you played Lightwater, Enforcer, Aggro, I guess, and Raijinku was playing Light Water Dark Kalima. Did you have any brief thoughts going into the matchup, or were you just kind of ready to take them on with the deck?
Yeah, I think I have a pretty good matchup because um, yeah, the Kalima it hits the board very late, and I think I can push through that earlier. So I thought I would have a pretty good matchup into the deck.
Yeah, I you can kind of just sit back and I mean Cephalia and both Cephalia and Finbar just they're two insane mid game pushes that he has to kind of fight through. That's kind of difficult for him to do so, but we can just I guess just jump into the first game and see how it goes.
Yeah, sure.
So I will start the replay and we will begin. I believe, yeah, it looks like Raijinku won the die roll and chose to go first.
Yes.
And I mean, his hand, he's got the Targusher, but he doesn't have the mana to play it, so his hand is looking a little suspect, but he does have Gloomhollow Chimera. And I guess,
And
yeah,
I mean, he can charge the multi-sieves early on, so he
yeah.
has access to the other colors, which is
Mm-hmm.
probably his game plan anyway.
Mm-hmm. And you
And
have Magris, but I guess you're deciding if you want to play it, is what
yeah,
you're doing.
I think I went through a learning process and
Mm-hmm.
decided not to play it here.
Yeah, I really like this. I really like this decision, so I think it's something worth talking about. Do you want to elaborate, or I could even elaborate on like this kind of line of thought? But do you want to explain your thought process behind not playing
Yeah,
Magus?
like the thought process was I can keep it for later as a cheap bait in my hand, or when I have one spare mana, I can drop it to go wider. But like getting it on board early, I didn't feel quite comfortable because my hand doesn't have like Cephalia that would incentivize going in very aggressive early on. So I decided to keep it and maybe just use it as mana if I like don't draw the right cards to pair it up with.
Yeah, I think it's like a really important. I mean, it just shows like the understanding of the matchup or like your game plan, even if you haven't maybe thought about it too in depth. Maybe you're learning it on the fly, but I think ultimately like you just don't need to go in on this like all in aggro game plan in this matchup. Like it's just not really necessary to take that risk because if you go that route, I mean you can easily get blown out by like an early play or something like that, and then or a shield blast or anything, and you can
Yeah,
just play the matchup in a way where you just sit back, maybe just build up a board, maybe attack, maybe don't, depending on how it plays out, and then you can just wait for like a refill turn where you drop a Cephalia or drop a Finbar and you leverage those cards. You don't have to again take the risk of going all in aggro. And a big part of that is when you play the Magris turn one, you just it's not as bad when you're going second, but you're still putting yourself down an extra card in hand, which makes it really hard to like actually land an on curve Cephalia or especially an on curve Finbar if you go that all in route. So it just makes it even when you discard that extra card or convert that Magris from a potential mana into a creature in play, it makes it a lot harder for you to land those refill cards and play the game plan that's more, I guess, safe. And then it just makes it that much more impactful if your opponent has like a shield trigger to stun your aggression. Is I
yeah,
guess
that's true.
kind of the
And,
idea.
and like in this game, it was like good to keep it because I didn't want to charge any other card in my hand.
Exactly. I think that's ultimately the thing is like matchup is definitely, it's just more valuable as like a card to go in your mana zone than a creature in play. Like it's doing more in your mana zone than it would on the battlefield, um, in my opinion, at least. But
Yeah, and the
yeah, it's like
turn three, the problem, like I would want to play the Coral, but like I don't want to charge the Finbar um,
mhm.
as a water source, so I just settle on playing another Shield Wing as a body.
Yeah, I guess you could consider playing nothing to, but that doesn't seem super great.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I could to like keep more hand size, but
Yeah,
like the plan was to keep the Finbar to like
yeah, you
refill
want
my
to,
hand, and I need a board for it to do so. So
exactly. But and yeah, if you do that, go that route, it leaves you in kind of a tough spot against like a Screeching Scaradorable, because then it would kill like the one Shield Wing, and then you play the Keeper of Laws maybe on the next turn, but then you only have one creature in play, so it's not safe from a Medusa. So just like
yeah,
going a little bit wider on the board is just generally beneficial, and not trying to waste the mana. But yeah, I guess now the decision is like, do you feel the need to make a push with the Rusalka, or just maybe just get a little bit of tempo, sending one of those
yeah,
creatures back, or just do you want to play the Keeper of Laws?
yeah. I'm not sure what I decide on, but like I can see arguments for both.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
For sure. Yeah, I mean you could Rusalka back the bait, because he's got like the 5 drops. I think both Alphonsus and, yeah, he has like a couple vortexes that he could play, or the Medusa, but neither of them are like that good. I mean, they're decent for sure, but
yeah, like
he.
Keeper is safe from Medusa, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the Shieldwing dying, yeah, doesn't matter really.
Yeah, exactly. And then unfortunately, I mean, it's not like playing Medusa this turn is like super crucial, but he does kind of just brick on a multi-civ here.
This year, and also there are spells like you
Mm-hmm.
don't really want to cast them into Keeper.
Yeah, and you don't even really. I mean, he's got the. I mean, it's just such a downside. This is a problem with Spinning Terror too. Is like you are totally fine draw like the effect is almost a liability here, because if he does want to play a spell, not only do you it basically turn your Keeper Laws into a draw 2, which is
Yeah,
because if he plays like Grip of Despair to bounce one of the things you draw from Keeper, then he breaks a shield with the Spinning Terror, and then you draw another card that way, and he just, yeah, he falls really far behind. Yeah, so I don't know. It seems like he's thinking hard. He could have played that. Yeah, just not really worth it.
yeah, I don't know what you like. You, I think you don't charge Medusa to play one of the spells. Like,
Exactly. You can't afford to do
doesn't
that.
make
It's just
sense. Yeah,
they don't even get you that far ahead. Like again, they just like kill one creature and discards a card, but then you draw 2, and then all he
yeah.
has to do is like bounce the Gloom Hollow, and then he gets to kill the Spinning Terror. It's just not, none of that's good.
And I draw the Piercing Judgment, which uh, lets me think if I should clear the board with it.
Mm-hmm. Or just,
Like
yeah,
bounce the Conqueror, tap the Spinning Terror, run over it with Keeper, instead of bouncing with the Rusalka and yeah,
yeah. I
making a
mean,
big.
there's definitely arguments. The idea, I guess, would be that you kind of want to get the Terror off the field, because you don't want to just draw a million cards with it in the battle zone when you play the Finbar next turn.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's, I guess, kind of the idea. But you could just Rusalka back the Gloom Hollow, and even just like pass and get an extra creature in play for the Finbar. But it makes sense
yeah.
to
But
just want to get it off the
I
battle
got the
zone.
Piercing Judgment route. Like, of course, there's a possibility that I break on multi-civ next turn, but
Mm-hmm.
if I play the Rusalka, I can, like, the same can happen with that play as well, unless I just play nothing.
Yeah, but this
And
makes
yeah, I
sense too.
think
It
the
just,
most
yeah.
yeah, I think I get the most advantage out of here because he has to replay the Gloom Hollow again, and I get rid of the Spinning Terror, which um,
Hmm.
yeah, stands in my way from my Finbar turn.
Exactly. It just makes the most sense. And then, yeah, he's just not really drawing anything that's like particularly relevant, right? Like he hasn't been able to land the Medusa, which would have been maybe his best chance to do something, but just kind of drawing more just creatures that aren't really too relevant.
Yeah, and another Gloom Hollow, and he can't even like go double Gloom Hollow because he doesn't want to charge the Medusa.
Hmm. I don't know. Maybe if I was him, I would have charged the grip instead of the Gloom Hollow. I don't
I
know if
think
it
so too. They charge the multi-sif because I have Keeper on board. You don't want to play it
and
anyway.
spend it in, yeah. In this
They
position,
want,
I don't see him ever wanting to spend 5 mana on the Grip of Despair. So it's basically a dead card in hand, and it's like even deader because it is a tap land. So just getting it out of the way there. At least
yeah, yeah,
Gloom Hollow is just a cheap play. Like if he finds like a Screeching, he could go Screeching plus Gloom Hollow. Obviously, you bounce it, or even next turn, like he would have it, so he could go double Gloom Hollow. But ooh, you draw the second Finbar, which is always nice.
not a member of the first, which is really nice.
Yeah, really, really, really nice. I mean, I mean, it doesn't actually matter. It's kind of irrelevant, but it would have been nice had he not had the grip.
But yeah, like now I have two Finbars and I can just discard one of them.
Yeah, and then now you can kind of decide if you want to keep going in or just it makes sense to just kind of wait for the
For the
next turn
next Fin.
Finbar. But I mean, I could see just an argument just capitalize now while he's got no blockers, but and just like because you can set up like a lethal turn next turn, but
But yeah, like that would require like no blasts from him at all.
mm-hmm.
Like
It makes sense. Like it would be
that many options, like I don't know.
yeah, because if he finds like if you're already worried about Hydra Medusa and he finds like a cheaper bait, which he's got, I think maybe I think four 2-drop or less
Yeah,
baits in his deck. Like
like
then,
he got
yeah,
some
that
one
would be a
drop
really
bait.
big blowout. Is if he just goes like bait plus Medusa, and then clears laws in one of your 2-drops. That would be really rough. So it makes a lot of sense to just wait.
Yeah.
And then yeah,
The
like this.
Kalima doesn't.
Yeah, if he had charged the grip last turn, he would have been able to play 2 blockers there, which not the biggest
Yeah,
deal, but it would have mattered a little bit at the very least.
yeah, I agree. Like not only that you get rid of the multi-sif earlier, and but you keep the blocker, and like probably like now I draw the piercing, which could have dealt with two blockers,
Yeah,
but like other than piercing, I can only clear one blocker.
yeah. I don't think like again, it's not like the an extra Gloom Hollow in play isn't the most impactful, but it just makes it like more likely that I don't know he could land a Medusa next turn with a blocker still in play or some like just some. I mean, just there's no downside really. It's just only going to be slightly helpful.
And he has another trigger here.
Yeah, just a blocker, but
Not the best one, but it's something.
yeah, it trades off with the Shield Wing, so you offer the trade, which makes sense. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, you just want the card. Like you could just not make this attack, maybe just attack with the Keeper of Laws, but and then like save because like you can just easily answer the blocker next turn with the piercing. Um,
yeah. I think
but
I don't
just
know if I want to attack with loss because I don't want
yeah,
to leave him tapped.
yeah, you just want to keep it in play. So
Because basically,
yeah, because you
I
again, he just like
deck
Medusas.
doesn't have an out in form of a blast. Like all his blasts are targeting, right? Or maybe he has one
No,
where I have to choose. I don't
yeah, he
know.
has the choose, and then he has more of the blockers that could stop a lethal keeper, like more
Yeah,
of that same blocker.
right.
But
Blockers. Yeah.
But yeah, again, it just makes sense. Like especially when you draw this the the third fin bar, it makes sense to just kind of want to
Yeah.
keep being patient because like if you still expect the Medusa like walking into it there with the Keeper of Laws would be kind of rough.
Yeah, he's still like 2 turns away from Kalima. And
Mm.
that's what I like said in the beginning.
Yeah, it's
I
just
think
not.
card like it comes down so late. I think I probably pushed through before that even is a problem.
For sure. And like yeah, the Medusa is good for him, but
I can get rid of 2 creatures, but I still have the keeper in play.
so yeah, now bouncing the Finbar doesn't with Finbar doesn't really get you anywhere. So I think
No.
just
Yeah.
Cephalia to draw one card and then just yeah, just go a little bit wider this turn and then set up for a powerful turn next turn with the Finbar.
Yeah, I think I go Cephalia Skyvolt this turn because I'm at 7.
And then just save. Yeah, just keep setting up. And
I
that's
think
like
I
yeah, the
the
strength of this
Pierce.
deck is just so hard to run out of gas when you have these insane like water refill cards.
Yeah, but like it was also kind of lucky to draw like 3 consecutive
Finbars, yeah.
bursts.
It
That's
does
like
doesn't hurt.
that doesn't happen like every game. That was like all came at the perfect timing. Like okay, one was in the starting hand, but like drawing the second one of the first one and the third of the second one, yeah, that was
Mhm.
quite good.
And the Magris is nice too because it means like Blinder Beetle Prime is a really good draw.
Yeah, Blind Beetle Prime or like Sasha,
Hmm.
so I could go instant
And
Sasha.
yeah, you haven't seen a Prime yet, so you have three and the one Sasha left. And you only have like 17. It's not a lot of cards left in deck. Or I guess there's also the five Unknown Shields, so like half your
Yeah,
deck, but like a quarter of those is like really powerful evolutions, so not unlikely
yeah,
to draw one.
quite likely, and at least in the worst case, it's an untapped mana source.
So yeah, and then here he like charges the Smog instead of playing it, even though it's like not the best card on this board, but it's pretty clear I think that he very likely has Kalima in hand when he makes that play.
I think you can make that read pretty easily, but like playing it doesn't really make sense as well because like
I mean, yeah,
I just
he goes
pick
down. You
the
go down a card,
Thalia
but
and I draw a card off of it. Like he goes minus because I get the card draw
but
and
I don't know. I feel like you almost
kill my
like I get
small.
it. It doesn't do anything really, but it feels like it would probably be better than charging it if he doesn't have anything else. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, I guess. But yeah, now I guess you just play the Finbar
Yeah, I think I
and
go in with Finbar and maybe play the Magris as well, just as a body.
yeah,
Or I
or
keep it the instant evolution, I don't know.
yeah, you can keep it. I mean, keeping it or playing it for the body makes sense if you're worried about Kalima because it just gives you an extra creature in play. But at the same time, or I mean, that's definitely relevant because even if he answers like one with a shield blast, you'd still have four creatures, so you'd be able to like it just ups the odds that you untap with a creature if he has Kalima basically.
Yeah, yeah,
And on top of that, like when you play the Finbar, you're gonna draw at least probably at least like two cards. So you're not unlikely to find maybe like another enforcer bait, I guess, but just holding it as well for the blinder beetle. Both plays make sense, I think.
yeah, true.
And yeah, you just bounce because if you're reading that he probably has the Kalima, like you're he can't replay the Medusa and play the Kalima, so it's kind of just really fair to just bounce this and make the push. I don't know. I think I probably would have played the Magris myself, but I don't know. Both plays are fine because now Blinder Beetle Prime just like ends the game. Yeah, you find the Evo. Hmm.
I don't think like he needs a blast now so that Kalima even does something.
Yeah, and
And
then
if
he needs
shield
that,
isn't,
and yeah, the
yeah,
Sasha.
even then he needs a blast and a last shield, and then Kalima to hit 3. So basically clear my board, and then I still win because of the instant evolution.
Yeah, so the only hope he has is I don't think there is one. I think all the shield regeneration cards like you need bait into like Alphonsus, but even that like there's no one shield blast that could save him the next turn
Yeah,
anyways. So yeah, he's just dead here. So powerful. I mean, just drew the Finbars, and then I like how you play the game too. Just like pretty, just conservative, just holding your creatures back and just picking your spots to get aggressive, and then that really paid off because like the whole game he just. I mean, it turns like what, like 4 through 8 or turns 4 through 7. He just like never really did anything. I think like it was just play Gloom Hollow, maybe replay the Gloom Hollow, and you just kept him on like 1 or 2 cards in hand that were just like an Evo and a Kalima that he couldn't play, and then you kept playing with like a full hand and refilling your hand, and basically yeah, like the whole game was kind of in control from your side.
yeah, like the Finbar basically uh was the MVP. It was
Mm-hmm.
always like I only attacked I think when Finbar was on board,
For sure.
and the Finbar always bounced something. So um, I set back my opponent there.
Yeah. So well played, and you win the game uh, somewhat somewhat easily, to be honest, but powerful deck. We can go on to game two if you're ready.
Yeah, we can go to the game too, but the draws were also very
They were
like
good, yeah. They were good.
very
Keeper of Laws sat in play the whole game, and then it just was accompanied by like a string of Finbars, which is nice.
yeah, I don't even think that like the keeper was that relevant
It
to
didn't
be
draw
honest.
anything. I mean, it kept him from playing some spells,
Yeah, but
which
like
would have been fine, but
realistically, I think he wouldn't have played them anyway. But it was nice to have it there just as an insurance that I know I have a creature that like
survives,
can't be
yeah.
targeted, and so I have a finishing attacker.
All right. Well, I will hit play on game two here.
Yes.
So Raijinku going first once again, I believe. Leads on the multi mana, and his hand does look a little bit slow, I guess, but we'll see how it shapes up.
And I myself decide to charge the Magris turn 1.
Turn one, yeah,
Yeah,
makes
like
sense.
I basically after our game, our match, I completely abandoned him.
It's got spots, but I think it's like you mentioned. It's most valuable as like a tempo play in the mid game. Like you don't want to, like again, you don't want to play it turn one because you just get super blown out by like your opponent doing anything in the early game a lot of the time. But it is really nice like when you are making mid game pushes, like just having a 1 mana creature is like really valuable.
Yeah,
Just
it's
like Rusalka plus Magris is a nice play, and then a 1 mana bait creature. It's just like a mid game to late game tempo push card. But
it's basically only relevant in turn 1 if you play a deck where you need to finish early, like
yeah,
against like heavy control or like dragon decks where you like you lose at some point of the game when you
mm-hmm.
give them too much time.
So you draw a second, Cephalia, and then makes sense. Just you
Yeah,
summon the Koro,
would
probably.
get
Yeah.
Coil out there. Yeah,
And then Then you have to decide keep the piercing in hand or maybe get the multi-civ out of the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, I think I I believe I get the piercing down there just to get rid of the multi-civ.
Yeah, just
Even though
more guarantees that you can play the Cephalia on turn 5, because
like the
otherwise, like, yeah.
arbiter is probably a better trigger because it also like stops 2 attacks and is a body.
Hmm.
But
And against his deck
yeah,
especially, like he's probably gonna be on like very very few shields when he does have to go for game a lot of the time, and then Arbiter just
yeah,
yeah
it's better. But like you said, I have 2 multi-civs here and uh, probably need to get rid of one of them.
yeah. I mean, you could take the gamble. Like piercing is a nice card to have against like the underworld stalker that he's sitting on. Like just being able to bounce that is like kind of decent as like a tempo play, but I mean not the most valuable. But yeah, it's a choice. Definitely. Maybe even just set the Skyvolt mech could be a play, but
Yeah, I think I thought about it too,
so
but
you
I
keep that.
chose the arbiter and said probably yeah I keep drawing uh, mana that can be played.
Yeah, because you need to. Because yeah, if you want to go piercing into like Cephalia, you'll need to draw running untapped mana. And part of the issue too is like if you draw like a Finbar that you want to hold on to or something like that, it makes it a little bit awkward. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know.
I definitely should have set the piercing here.
Set the piercing and then just yeah, next turn you can charge the Arbiter or charge whatever you draw. Play the Skyvolt. Maybe not even play the Skyvolt, and depending on what you draw, but maybe even just charge the Skyvolt, but it's no guarantee that he's going to do something you want to bounce next turn. So,
Yeah, that's true.
because I don't even know how much you really need. I mean, setting triggers is obviously always nice, but I don't know if it's like the biggest priority. I think setting Skyvolt could have been something to consider. It probably would have been the best against like this specific sequence of how things played out, I guess.
But I never get punished and draw the Magreth.
Magris, easy charge.
Yeah, I think I do the piercing play now
Yeah.
and push.
You could get like super aggro and just play
Yeah, I
Magris
could play the Magreth and Skyvolt.
and then just charge the piercing. Pray you top deck. You don't brick and just throw your creatures away, and then you have like a huge Cephalia next turn. But you get super punished if he has like what's the if he has another panic and disorder in his shields or something. You just get completely destroyed. So I think just this play is also great because piercing, like you don't really care too much about going -1 here because the Cephalia is just gonna recoup that. And you also gotta maintain your board presence and make the attacking push.
The Yoko out of the shields. Not looking too good.
Yeah, just killing a dude. I guess he's thinking if you want. I mean, it doesn't make much sense to leave it, I guess. Oh, he does leave it. Or does he?
Yeah, he does leave it, but I
Oh.
don't know why.
Yeah, I guess he wants to like kill the the Luminous. Like the long-term idea would be that it gets to kill 2 creatures, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
But
kill it and then trade with the coral.
and it's a potential bait, like if he kills the Luminous and then you ignore it on your turn, like he has a creature so he could play a Vortex maybe. But I think yeah, just stop the shield break makes the most sense there. But just because he's like I don't know, he's got like nothing that's really like none of his plays have that much impact right away, which is I think one of the problems with his build is it's a lot of kind of slow. Like Underworld Stalker is just a little bit of a slow card, right? Like it doesn't do much. It gets really destroyed by all of Rusalka, Piercing, and Finbar.
Yeah, and like the problem with Kalima is I think it's such a late game card, and you basically want to play ramp, but in Kaijudo you can only ramp with green,
Hmm.
and then like you make your Kalima triggers worse when you reveal
Yeah, I think there's
stuff.
builds of nature, but overall there are kind of just medium. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I can
Personally,
get one, but like, how do you get to 10 like most of the time?
it's tough. I think it's better. I think like you kind of need to play alongside Mark of Kalima because that's kind of like the ramp, and Mark is
Yeah,
also a pretty decent card. And I don't know. I think this build that Raijinku played, I don't think it would be a build he like. I talked to him a bit when I was playing against him some other times, and I don't think he was a huge fan of his own choice. I think he would have preferred, in hindsight, to go with one of his more traditional builds of Kalima, because I don't think this one was like too well positioned or well built for the kinds of decks that were being played in this event.
yeah.
But like I think for this build that he brought, it would just be straight up better if he just like played two Andromedas over the Kalimas. But
But like when you go with that theory, like
then the
you
whole deck
probably
crumbles.
play Andromeda and Haven like over any other
Yeah, exactly.
eight
The whole
eight
deck
plus
changes.
10 card.
Yeah, the Kalima. I'm not the biggest fan of Kalima overall. I think it's a bit of a trap, but I don't know. Whatever. It's still a solid deck overall, depending on how you build it.
I
Hmm.
mean, the payoff is really nice, but like the cost is so steep.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you still I think you need to play it alongside Andromeda a lot of the time anyways.
Yeah,
Just cuz otherwise like I mean Serpents
five.
is a nice shield gain, but it's on its own it's kind of a medium card a lot of the time too. Kind of sketchy. I think you kind of need that shield regen, but your hand is just infinite little dudes.
Yeah, I think play one like yeah P- PPR and one Skyward.
Yeah, I mean your Cephalia drew a bunch of cards, but they're not like cards that do a ton. Like I think you've yet to see a Blinder Beetle Prime this match, or
To be honest, I think I didn't see it like too much the whole tournament. Like,
mm,
okay, saying the whole tournament it was only 3 matches, but if I remember
yeah,
correctly, I didn't see any against you as well, or maybe just one.
you definitely played it, but you played one in our game for sure. But
But like,
it just got
I really
eaten.
didn't
Yeah,
see that much.
yeah. I mean, it got ate by my Cetus immediately. But now I mean, you're set up like if you draw an Enforcer and a Blinder Beetle Prime from this spot, like it's gonna be something that really helps you close. But I mean, this game is going decently well for Raijinku actually. To like, he's not in the worst spot. Like the Joko, is that the same one? Like it's still in play, just chilling.
Yeah, Joko from his first shield here.
Whether it's worth having this in play over having an extra shield, probably not. But we'll see, I guess. I mean, it's gonna get the shield back this turn, so maybe it all comes full circle. I mean, but he could have even just traded off with the. I don't know. Maybe it's big brain, long term play, because now he gets to play the Serpents, and if he wants to, or he could even play the Magelcax, which looks really good here.
I think he's going with the Magel cracks. I don't know. Yeah, he goes for it just to like
Interesting.
get off the restriction from PPR.
It's really good here though, because he clears your whole hand and one of your creatures,
Yeah, I can definitely get the play.
and he draws two cards. So yeah, it makes a ton of sense. He's leaving himself like a little. I mean, he's got the Serpent's follow up too. So even if you break his last two shields and freeze the Magelcax, then um, the lurking Skullcutter comes down next turn, trades, gets back a shield. So he's in like a pretty decent spot after this play. It seems.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean the other alternative would just be like play the Serpents and then you have two cards in hand, which doesn't seem very good.
Serpents could have been nice as well, but like
I mean, it's
he's
good, but
not. Yeah, he's not in a need of shield regeneration. Like,
yeah. So I mean, keeping the Joko in play was kind of nice, but again, like that could have just been an extra shield over this.
mm,
I don't know. It's hard to say. And then you, very nice draw, very nice.
like, like the Cephalias, like this or Finbar would have been like the best top deck.
Yeah,
And it
actually, just
one,
insane draw. Very nice to see. Very nice. I guess.
yeah,
And yeah, you decide to play the Magris. Yeah,
just
makes
not another body.
makes sense. I guess. Yeah, just dump it out there. And now I guess you decide if you want to go in. I mean, it makes sense. Just freeze the
Yeah,
Megalocax and then just
yeah. You need to go in just to proc the PPR and freeze the Megalocax, and then I can just clear the last shield. So yeah, just to put him at 0.
hmm And it's
But it
hard for him.
looks
Like you have 4 creatures in play, so it's really hard for him to answer everything, even
yeah,
with the serpents. Like I think he really needed some kind of shield trigger on that first attack,
yeah,
because without it,
agree.
like, yeah, now it's just really rough. Because yeah, I think the best he can do is serpents, trade, and then with
Hope that
only
he had something in shields.
yeah, with only one shield, it needs to be super specific. But with the Rusalka to bounce the serpents, I think that just shuts off
Yeah, like
all
in
of the
theory, he
outs.
needs to play Serpents and recover into a Shield Blast blocker. So,
Yeah, or another Joko or something like that. Or actually, I think he
yeah,
only
or,
plays 2.
yeah, something you, that sacks itself off. So you get another shield.
So yeah, I think the Cephalia top deck was brutal. It was like he was looking in a really good spot
Yeah,
right before that.
can't argue that that was basically like I wasn't in a bad spot, but also not in a good spot. He was stabilizing and probably could take over like the next few turns,
hmm
and then
Yeah, he could
take the
get
right.
something going if you have no cards in hand with this. If he can go, I think serpents and then even play a second serpents, like he could definitely get something going in terms of like building back up his shields, and then he could start looking to go in for game, but at some point. But that is one of the problems I think with this deck as well, is like it's just really hard to see how he like kind of converts. I mean, I guess serpents is kind of enough, like it gives you enough security, but the deck is so slow that you just fall so low in shield count, especially against like a deck that's packing like arbiters and a bunch of storm sparks and stuff. It's just really hard to actually like close out the game safely. But yeah, now you just Finbar.
Yeah,
Very nice. So no BBPs, but like four Finbars. So can't really
Finbar's
complain. 5 Finbars. Nice.
now like there's probably nothing he can do.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single card. He has the Terra Pit, but it's not enough. So you get the nice W.
Get the win, move on to 2-1,
2
which I
1.
don't know which placement that gets me.
Yeah, it will get you top 4 for sure, or at least the you get. It's just playing for pride, so you don't have a losing record, I guess. You got to avoid that.
The
But yeah,
pride boost.
exactly. So I guess in the 2 tournaments we did, you got 2-1 twice, which is very nice. Puts you
Yeah,
in
it's
the elite
nice.
company at the top of the. I don't know, even we don't have any standings. Oh, nice double arbiter, very nice. But yeah, do you want to just maybe reflect a little on the tournament, how you felt you did maybe, and then we can
I think the
wrap up.
tournament itself was really nice again. Like it said that you only play 3 rounds of Swiss. It's not
Yeah,
too much. Like there's no room for error. Like
it is a
yeah,
feel bad.
and you're basically out of the tournament. So it can get kind of frustrating when you lose early on.
For sure. Yeah, I think double elimination going forward is something I want to see if we can try, because it just seems a little more enjoyable, even if it's a longer tournament. I think just maybe it keeps people a little more engaged. Because
Yeah, like
yeah,
double
like
elimination is probably fine because you can lose once and you're still playing for the win. Another thing, I don't know if that's great, but I know when we did our first like Duel Masters tournaments where we only had 8 people at the beginning as well, we split it into 2 groups of 4 where we
uh,
played round robin. So we had like the 3 rounds in the group stage and then played top 4 out. So
that's
another
cool.
two
Yeah,
rounds.
that makes sense. Like any way that we can get more rounds, and maybe like
Yeah,
it would be very nice to do a top cut, but with only 8 players, it's just like kind of hard to do it. But doing the group stages could make that a bit better.
yeah, I think just some way to increase the number of rounds and maybe yeah, a system where like one loss doesn't mean you are
Hmm.
completely out of it.
The only issue is when we do when we're doing tournaments where we do like a match per week, it's like having some
Yeah,
like two
it
month long
drags for
tournament
some
would
time.
be would be kind of insane. But overall, we can zoom out again. A very nice showing. I Another 2-1 performance. I think both times you just lost to myself in one of the rounds.
That's,
So someday soon you'll get your revenge. But um, I think the deck overall. I mean, I think it's just a really strong deck. I mean, just light water, lots of interaction, lots of like ways to maintain pressure. I think
yeah,
the Magris definitely iffy. I think Cloudwalker drone or maybe
I, maybe.
definitely Cyberscamp as well, but different options for the early drop slot.
Yeah, but I think overall the deck is very consistent. I think you can
Hmm.
only like improve it in some way when you add a third color. Like you can play more like mid-rangey with dark, or you can play like more beefy creatures when you add in green.
Yeah, and that both ways probably help a little more. I mean, Blinder Beetle is
I
a
mean,
really nice card against dragons, though. Like just stopping the birds, it can be really powerful. Blinder Beetle Prime as well. So like that package is nice for dragons. But
yeah, I mean, by playing 3 colors, you trade off some consistency.
mhm.
I can see it, the hands getting a bit more like bricky, and you don't, yeah, hit
Yeah, it
the
gets a little
specific
more
cards
awkward. But
time, but also you can increase like your power level.
yeah, because like Swordhorn and Lost Patrol are just like really nice cards. It's just like super beefy early creatures. Because I mean, Skyvolt mech's beefy, but not really.
Not beefy enough.
Yeah, it's not getting too big, and then. But I don't know. Overall, like it really works though. Just like go, just super. Again, like you said, it's super consistent with like 6 3 drops, 9 2 mana or less cards, and then it really makes it a really powerful Cephalia deck. So yeah, just super consistent, but it can maybe lack a little bit of power level sometimes. But yeah, overall the deck very nice. I think most of it seemed to work out for you. But yeah, that I guess that wraps it up. Do you have anything else you want to say? Maybe sign off or shout out the Duel
Yeah, I don't
Masters channel.
think.
But yeah, as
Thanks for
always,
having me.
yeah, you're welcome. It's nice to have you on. Thank you for for coming on and offering your expertise and your commentary. But for anyone watching, if you're interested in other higher quality videos or content about games similar to this, check out your German Duel Masters YouTube channel. Probably one of the, I don't know too much about DM, but one of the more foremost channels out there, I would suspect, for Duel Masters content. But for anyone else, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.